The laughter died suddenly on her trembling lips. Scarlett Johansson sat perfectly still in the Tonight Show guest chair, her carefully composed smile crumbling as tears began to well up in her tired eyes. Jimmy Fallon watched with growing concern as one of Hollywood's strongest leading ladies transformed into something far more vulnerable, a dedicated mother carrying the overwhelming weight of impossible choices. It had started as the perfect promotional television segment. Scarlett Johansson glided confidently onto the Tonight Show stage wearing an elegant black designer dress, her blonde hair styled in effortless waves. The enthusiastic audience erupted as Jimmy welcomed her with his characteristic warmth and enthusiasm. She was there to promote her latest ambitious directorial project. "Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Scarlett Johansson," Jimmy announced as she settled into the guest chair with practiced grace. Her smile was radiant, her posture confident. For 25 minutes, they created engaging television. Scarlett shared behind-the-scenes stories from her directing debut, demonstrated her attempts at operating camera equipment, and engaged in hilarious games. The audience was captivated. But then the conversation shifted to something more personal. "I have to say," Jimmy said, "watching you direct while also acting and being a mom to Rose, how do you manage it all? You make it look effortless." Scarlett's laugh was just a beat too quick. "Oh, it's all about balance, right?" "But seriously," Jimmy continued, "being a working mother in Hollywood must present unique challenges. How do you handle the guilt that comes with travel, long filming days? Do you ever feel like you're missing important moments?" The question hung in the air. Scarlett had answered variations of this question hundreds of times, with polished responses about support systems and quality time. But tonight, something was different. For a moment, Scarlett was completely silent. Her hands began to fidget with her wedding ring, and something shifted in her expression. "You want to know the truth?" she said, and her voice carried a weight that made Jimmy's smile fade. "I don't think I handle it well at all." The studio fell quiet. This wasn't the polished Scarlett Johansson they expected. "Last week," she continued, her voice beginning to shake, "Rose looked at me and asked, 'Mommy, why do you always have to leave?' And I—" Her voice caught completely. "I didn't have a good answer." Jimmy leaned forward, his attention focused on her distress. "Scarlett, I tried to explain about work, about following dreams, about providing for our family," she said, tears now flowing down her cheeks. But all she heard was that Mommy chooses to leave, that something else is more important than being with her. The audience was completely still. They were witnessing something unprecedented. One of Hollywood's most successful women confronting the impossible choice that millions of women face every day. "I spend half my time feeling guilty for working," Scarlett continued, wiping her eyes, "and the other half feeling guilty for not working enough, for not being present when I am working because I'm thinking about her. I feel like I'm failing at both." Jimmy stood up from his desk and walked over to her. The cameras kept rolling, but this had stopped being entertainment. This was one human being recognizing another's pain. "Hey," Jimmy said softly, offering her tissues. "Can I tell you something?" Scarlett looked up at him, and she wasn't Scarlett Johansson, the movie star. She was just a mom who felt like she was letting down the most important person in her world. "My kids have asked me the same question," Jimmy said, his voice gentle but strong. "Why do I have to go to work? Why can't I just stay home with them? And you know what I realized?" "What?" Scarlett whispered. "They ask because they love us," Jimmy replied. "They ask because we matter to them. Not because we're failing them, but because we're so important that they want more of us. That's not guilt you should carry. That's love you should celebrate." Scarlett shook her head. "But what if I'm missing the important moments? What if she needs me and I'm not there?" "Then you're human," Jimmy said. "And you're also showing her something incredible. You're showing her that women can pursue their dreams, that mothers can be complex people with passions beyond just parenting. He sat on the arm of her chair. You know what I see when I look at you? I see someone who's raising a daughter who will grow up knowing that women can be anything they want to be because her mom showed her how. Scarlett turned to face the main camera, her makeup streaked but her voice growing steadier. If there are any working mothers watching this, she said, looking directly into the lens, I want you to know that the guilt is real. The choice is impossible. But you're not alone. She paused, gathering strength. I used to think that being a good mother meant being available 24/7, never pursuing anything that took me away from my child. But maybe being a good mother also means showing your daughter that women can be passionate, driven, and still love their children fiercely. The studio erupted in applause, recognizing something authentic in her struggle. You know what Rose told me yesterday? Scarlett said, managing a smile through her tears. She said she wants to be a director when she grows up, just like Mommy. That's when I realized that maybe what I thought was failing her was actually inspiring her. Jimmy addressed the studio audience. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, what Scarlett just shared isn't just brave, it's necessary, because too many parents are carrying guilt that isn't theirs to carry. The segment about film promotion had become something far more important, a conversation about the reality of modern parenting and the impossible standards we place on mothers. After the show, Scarlett's phone buzzed with thousands of messages from parents thanking her for her honesty. The clip went viral within hours, not for entertainment value, but for its raw truth about working motherhood. #Mom Guilt is Real began trending as millions shared their own stories of feeling torn between career and family. Scarlett had come to The Tonight Show to promote her directing debut. Instead, she'd given the world something far more valuable: permission for parents to be human, to feel conflicted, and to know that loving your children doesn't mean sacrificing every part of yourself. And Jimmy had learned once again that the most powerful moments happen not when everything goes according to plan, but when someone finds the courage to share their most vulnerable truth. That night, Scarlett FaceTimed Rose and had the most honest conversation they'd ever had about work, dreams, and love. Because sometimes the best thing you can do for your children is show them that it's okay to be complicated, to have big feelings, and to love multiple things at once. Because that's what happens when The Tonight Show becomes more than entertainment. It becomes a place where parents remember they're human,